Why don't let's find the pain in the room. In our new segment, let's find the pain. Who's in pain? Emotional pain.
Dan is.
Your hand went up immediately. Do you mind talking about it? What's your name?
Seth.
Seth, what's your emotional pain?
Kind of lost all my best friends at once.
You lost all your best friends at once? Yeah. Are you willing to come up and talk about it? Okay, Seth, everybody. Go that way.
Do we have extra mics?
You
can share my mic.
All right.
We can share. It's Portland. Okay. Here, Seth, you sit there. I'm not going to be the. I'm gonna lord over you guys. All right. So, you lost all your best friends in a short period of time?
Yeah, in like a weekend.
What'd you say?
In like a weekend.
Oh, okay. What? So, take
Was
it from.
Was alcohol involved?
That's a good question.
So yes.
Yeah, in some semblance, but not for the actual thing.
Sure.
Was it a wedding or a murder? Or?
We could speculate all night.
It was a murder at a wedding, in fact.
It was a wedding?
It was a wedding murder. It was a themed wedding. It went poorly.
Was it okay? Sorry, I'm sorry. We're just looking for the next 2 hours. You're like, was it? Did birds attack you?
We'll figure it out eventually. We'll get there.
No, so I recently, like back in December or so, moved from my hometown of Anchorage, Alaska, down to Seattle, which is where I live now, which is really far. And
so you're following a hipster ley line. Like you're gonna end up living at Stonehenge. He moved from Anchorage to Seattle to Portland. He's gonna. Okay.
Are you afraid of people without tattoos?
No, like
No, I'm sorry. I love tattoos. I just know that Anchorage and Seattle and Portland all are famous for their beautiful tattoos. And go ahead.
Yeah. No, my only thing is, like, I have a beard and have for some time.
Sure do.
But it's utilitarian.
This is a guy. Sorry to interrupt, but if Spencer's a brownie, this guy's a blondie. He's a Spencer type for the podcast listeners.
It's for sure
and that's
Bizarro
hair
Spencer
color.
is opposite coloring and looks the same.
He's a blonde Spencer. Okay, continue.
Yeah. So I moved. Beard utilitarian. It was cold.
What's utilitarian about the beard?
It's really cold there.
Yeah.
Because Alaska.
I was in my hotel that's also as cold as Alaska, and I was shirtless and I was trying to sleep, and when I had my beard on my chest, I was fine, and when I swept it to the side, I was freezing cold.
It's like an Afghan for your neck. It's wonderful.
It's like a blanket from your face.
And I heard the people in Ferguson are reporting it's a natural tear gas filter.
Oh, definitely. You just put it over your eyes like that. It works.
It's just an adaptation. We're all making it. All right, so
anyway,
continue.
I'll make this super brief.
You don't have to make it brief.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
You gotta leave room for
Go
the goose.
faster.
This isn't Desperate Housewives. It's a fucking Portland podcast. Like we want to hear your human story.
So I moved and had some really close friends who I did podcasts with, and we were, made a lot of stuff together, and we were continuing to do it like kind of long distance.
Did the journey with okay.
Because I was the only one who moved because I had to get out because it's the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's
Alaska.
It's Cincinnati in the north. No offense to Cincinnati, they make wonderful chili. So I moved and then came back in like May, like 6 months later for the first time, just for a weekend, and we hung out and everything was great. And then there was huge social drama because it turned out I had Anchorage is a small town. I had
thrown your anchor into a sea.
I had found Anchorage, I guess you could say, in a port that ended up being. Oh, that's a really bad way to talk about a human being. I'm taking that back immediately.
I feel like we should commit to the pun.
I think it was.
We all know women are at ports.
We've hit like a major plot point, and then you guys got derailed with this horrible word game.
It was a short-term mortgage, and then. But was very friendly and was very amicable, and we were friends. And then she started dating another friend in the close friend group, and things kind of spiraled from there. But it was the first time that like really close friends were kind of like, all right, no, we're donezo because
Did you become
things.
the this is the thing that drives me
Agitator?
insane about romance, the dark underbelly of it that we see. This is why I don't like romantic comedies, but because Aaron loves them, but I'm projecting the thing that drives me insane, my worst nightmare, is being cast as the villain in someone else's story. Even though I didn't, it's just like, oh, that's convenient for you. Like, I'm the wind beneath your fucking wings because it's like taboo.
Well, and not only was I the villain, I was Sauron on the proverbial mountain, literally a country away. You know, like you had to go through Canada, which is like, I don't know, dwarves live there or something. And then there was me, you know, being all villainy in
So you
Denmark.
became
You know that were you the other man ever?
No, not at all. This was before they got
So
together.
then
But
fuck
there were
fuck those friends.
Yeah.
No one thinks about Alaska anyway.
For like, and it's not too big a deal because I don't need to go back.
Joke.
I'm good for now. Like,
Well, but you
Seattle's
said
pretty cool.
you're in emotional pain. You lost all your friends in a couple of days. Like you went from 5 to 0 or whatever it is. I don't mean to presume the numbers. I would start with 3, and then he needs to hear more than "fuck those friends."
You're right.
My mom always used to say when I would go out and I would get beat up by people, and then I would come home and I would go, Scott and so beat me up, and my mom would go, well, then now you know you don't like those guys, right? You know, like, and here they are wanting to beat you up, so some problems solve themselves.
And you have to see him every day. And and that's the part that's still raw, is because of the internet, which is a great thing in so many ways. We're just kind of one Kevin Bacon away from each other.
Yeah.
You know, and have a whole bunch of mutual
they-
friends. So like there's only so much hiding and blocking and muting that you can do.
Did they break up with you via like an email or some kind of conversation? Or?
No, it was like, hey, I'm back in town for 3 days. Everything's cool one day. The next day, oh, by the way. Podcast listeners, it was
right.
He's flipping up. He's giving double birds.
Well, without really knowing the situation, I would say to not really take that too personally. If you really believe that you weren't in the wrong,
Yeah, don't worry about it.
You've moved, so it's
You're
not
the
really
winner.
about you. It's like they're like, look, who's in the Anchorage crew?
Well, it sounds like they're
We gotta-
resentful that you got out, right? I mean,
Right, maybe. Yeah.
I'd imagine that it sucks
For
to live
agreements,
there.
all that.
Am I hearing a different thing? I mean, he's not wondering whether or not he should like these people. He is saying it hurt. You know, it like is a wound that was
it's
inflicted,
valid.
and it's just sitting there. So, what's the salve that you put on it? It won't heal it. The thing that'll heal it is his own body and time. But is there like some neosporin that we could squirt on it in the
At
form
least
of a?
he got
Well, for me,
laid.
reminding myself, if I was in his position, reminding myself that it wasn't really about me would be that Neosporin, which is why I said that.
Right, definitely. I wasn't, oh my God, I wasn't arguing
Oh,
with you.
Jesus Christ. Oh, my
Oh,
God.
You guys
Jesus.
shouldn't
God
be
damn it.
therapists at all.
If there's a
Dan
couples
and I are
therapist
opening
in
up
Portland.
our own practice. It's called Mixed Nuts.
I mean, I think the first thing we need to do, not to be Geraldo Rivera about it, but I got to reach around him like Kelly McGillis in Top Gun and just embrace him. And you can't see it on the podcast. It's not for applause, but thank you. How does it feel to be touched and held by someone you admire who will never betray you? I don't care who you date next. I'm never gonna touch her. Every time you hear my voice, I'm talking to you. Praise Jesus!
I'm very sorry that happened to you. In these moments of pain, I like to quote one of my favorite shows of all time, My So-Called Life. I would reference an episode halfway through the series where Claire is getting over Jordan and realizes that she's over him, and she says, you know what? It hurts until it doesn't. It hurts until it doesn't.
That just seems like such a fuck
It
off.
hurts.
Like,
No, it's not a fuck up. I mean, the
It's
meaning
true.
behind that is like, no, like if you feel sad about this, your feelings are valid and you're going to sit in them, but you won't feel that way forever. It'll expire. It hurts until it doesn't.
What if it hurts forever?
Well, then there's something wrong with you and you should jump off the
Then you
bridge.
die and it doesn't hurt anymore.
what if you know that about pain?
That makes me feel a lot better. You just die and you're fine.
What if
No, I'm
what if
joking.
you're
No,
so smart? What if you're so
If it hurts
smart?
forever, then it's not about that situation.
What if you're so smart that you know that about pain, and it doesn't change anything? What do you do in those moments when knowing how your brain works and how your heart works doesn't change anything that's going on in them? What do you? Is there a technique? Is there a
you go inside. You gotta go inside.
Get out of the sun. Get out of the fucking orange Hitler that is the sun.
Your emotions are a lot like weather. They come and go, and sometimes they make sense and follow patterns, and other times it's like a freak storm. It's like you go inside or you.
I had a friend who suggested he got over a breakup. He watched all the seasons of Farscape.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
I mean, the thing is, it's not that's the thing is that like it's a tired expression, but it's and a dumb old adage, but time really does heal all wounds. The good news about being sad is that in times when you're sad, art is better, music is better, you're probably more creative, you're seeing things differently, like you're really living because you're bleeding from your soul as you're walking around. Like that's the good news. Bad news is it's gonna feel bad until it doesn't feel bad anymore. That's just time. The bad thing to do is to try to fix it by fucking, doing like building a windmill or whatever crazy thing you would do.
Talking about it on a podcast in front of.
Yeah, well, I don't think Seth's the type of guy that's gonna do anything. He's gonna. I mean, by the way,
what? He's gonna do great things.
No, I was saying I don't think he's going to do anything that's like unhealthy with his pain. Okay. If he's willing to like cry it out from an audience at a podcast, that means he's already actually like got oxygen and that's going to heal. But Seth, do you ever listen to this podcast? Yeah. Do you think it would help you heal a little bit to play a character whose life you had more control over in a game of Dungeons and Dragons, maybe, whose wounds could not hurt you, no matter who did anything to you? So, do you think? I don't know how. I mean, we got a smattering of applause when we asked who listened to the podcast. So, but the thing is, during the podcast, we end it by playing a round of Dungeons and Dragons. On the podcast. So I guess if you're not a fan, fuck off, I guess. But not in a mean way. Just in a you won't maybe not know what's going on. Or if you're a gaming fan, I mean, this is a big like tabletop intensive conference. So we're going to be we have an ongoing campaign that we play, and we need a Chris de Burgh who will be Seth, and we need a if McKenna would be willing to be so we have. Well, wait. We need a Quark, and you'll play Chris de Burgh. Sorry, McKenna. Okay.